Hey, fifth graders, happy Wednesday. Hope you're all doing well and you are happy and you are getting outside. It's been beautiful recently, so spring is definitely here and we are starting to see some changes outside as well. So I hope you are doing well. I hope you're also making progress on your review worksheet. That is your one homework assignment for this week. I do also have a couple optional activities. One thing you might have noticed that looks a little different on Google Classroom is that I have made these videos, like your Monday video and your Wednesday video, as well as your two readings, reading 6 and reading 7, assignments on Google Classroom. Now, obviously, you don't need to do any work except for watching this video. Once you watch this video, then you can press turn in on the Google Classroom for assignment for the Wednesday video. I just want to kind of keep track and make sure we know who is watching what. So just press the turn in button. You don't have to attach anything. You don't have to give me any notes. You just press turn in once you're done with this video. Same thing with the Monday video as well as the readings 6 and 7. So once you read it, just press turn in or submit or whichever button it says. Part of the reason why I wanted to add this as an assignment is to kind of give you more of a clear picture on your to-do list of what I actually expect you to do each week. As you kind of have started to notice, there's not many assignments. It's usually just 1 or 2 per week for science, which is a lot less than we would normally do in the classroom. But there are a lot of informational things I want you to do first before you do your assignments for the week. Now, this video is going to be all about review, so hopefully it will be helpful for you as we work through your review worksheet, because we are 5 weeks into this now. So we've been doing ecosystems for quite a while, so I wanted to kind of take a pause, take a step back, do a little bit of review before we dive into something a little different next week. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink myself. All right. Oop, put myself in the corner over here. All right. So again, the first thing I do want to share with you is that to-do list. Again, I made my own separate video for this. It's only 3 minutes long, definitely worth a watch. But just in short, these 3 lines right here, go ahead, click those, and underneath enrolled, click on your to-do list. This will tell you everything that is missing, has no due date, or that is coming up, that's due shortly. So please make sure you check on this. You can filter by class by clicking this little down arrow and seeing what you still left to do in science. So hopefully that is helpful for you there. Again, check out that video I put on my stream last week. So you should hopefully be working on your review worksheet, at least kind of started it. Again, you have your own copy of this underneath the Your Work section on the top right corner of the assignment. You just open it up, type your answers in the space provided, turn it in when you're done. Use your resources to work on this. Use past readings, past videos, anything else that kind of helps you out with that to get your responses. So let's go back to review a little bit. An ecosystem is all of the living and non-living things in an area and how they interact. So it's not just the things within there, but it's their interactions too. How do they kind of connect with each other? How do they impact each other? Now, living means biotic. Biotic again means live. Biology is the study of living things. So bio, we see that same word right there. Again, these are all animals, plants, bacteria, fungus, and protists. But this also includes things that were once alive, meaning dead leaves on the ground or a dead squirrel or something like that. So things that were once alive is still considered biotic. Abiotic are those non-living things, meaning things that were never alive. They didn't have a heartbeat, they didn't breathe, they didn't grow, they didn't have the qualifications to be alive. So things like air, soil, water, sunlight, and minerals are all in those categories. Types of biotic creatures, so things that are alive can be either grouped as a producer, a consumer, or a decomposer. Now, producers are called producers because they produce their own food. They can make their own food. They don't have to eat in order to live. These are going to be plants primarily. They can harness sunlight, use photosynthesis, and produce their own food. Now, consumers are going to probably be your biggest category that you think of. These are things that need to eat other things for food. So they either eat plants or they eat animals or they eat both. Those are all of our consumers. A lot of animals fit into this category. And now our decomposers is another very small group. These are things that break down dead material. These are things like fungi, mushrooms, earthworms. They take things that are dead and they recycle those nutrients back into the ecosystem. Again, this is kind of review, so I'm going to kind of cruise through this, pause the video as you need, and to kind of take in the information at your own speed. Now, with those producers, they make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. They take in the sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide, and they produce glucose, which is a sugar which they use to grow. And then they also expel oxygen, which we use to breathe. So that's why we want to have a lot of plants, a lot of trees around, because they give off oxygen and they take in that carbon dioxide. And so carbon dioxide might kind of be a little light bulb moment for you, because that is one of those greenhouse gases that we're trying to kind of lower how much we have of it in our atmosphere right now, because we're putting out a lot. So plants help by taking it in. So they are super vital to have. And that's why for Earth Day, hopefully, you got outside, you smelled some plants, and that you are continuing to plant trees and grow green things, because they are super helpful. Then we kind of got into food chains and food webs. Now, food chains, again, are just one path of energy as they move through an ecosystem. They usually start with a producer, then they go on to the consumers, and they may end with a decomposer. The one shown here does not have a decomposer. An owl is still a consumer because it eats the mouse in order to live. Now, food webs are where things get a little bit more confusing, right? So you can even see this food chain within this food web. It just is very messy, right? It goes from the grass, the grasshopper, over to here, and then over to here. A food web shows a bigger picture of the entire ecosystem. So it shows how everything is kind of connected. And using this food web, you can make predictions about what might happen. If you were to get rid of something like this fox here, you can kind of predict what would happen to all of those populations. You would be able to predict what might increase and what might decrease if that animal is gone. Then we kind of got into some levels of organization. An individual is just one individual of that certain species. And then the population is how many of that species are in that one area. Community starts to include other species, other plants and other animals, again, within that area. And then the ecosystem includes our non-living things, the water, the rocks, the soil, things like that. So it kind of increases in the amount of stuff. Then we talked about how our ecosystems start to change, right? They can go through some slow changes and they can go through fast changes. And some slow changes are things like climate, seasons, tectonic plates, and erosion. And then there are fast changes like hurricanes and floods and fires and volcanoes and earthquakes. And those are all things that can change an ecosystem like that, right, in a snap. Versus the slow changes are predictable usually. We're able to kind of see them coming. We're able to know what things might look like. Like we know that spring in Minnesota can be kind of crazy from day to day, but we also know that our winters are predictably cold. We can see these changes coming. Where our fast changes are a bit more unpredictable. They're a little bit harder on the organisms that live there. One of your big projects was about an invasive species. Remember, an invasive species is something that's non-native to that location. It means it's new. It's not normally from there. They got moved there, usually by humans. Usually we bring them over by accident in boats or on purpose as nice shrubbery. So hopefully this, again, kind of jogs your memory. Again, with an invasive species, it is not usually a problem where it's originally from. So when one of the optional videos about invasive species talked about rabbits, and rabbits are normally not a problem where they are originally from because they have things like predators that eat them. But when they move to this new place, they are able to overpopulate because there are no predators there that eat them because they're new to that area. So since they're in this new location, they're throwing off the balance of that ecosystem. Now, you might be wondering, what is this? This is actually a sea lamprey. It is one of those invasive species in Minnesota. And yes, those are all teeth. And so what they do is they like latch onto fish and they kind of create these kind of cookie cutter hole shapes, and they actually can kill a large fish population. So they are invasive to Minnesota as well. And here's the emerald ash borer. Now, you may have seen signs like this if you have been to a boat landing. And it's the DNR trying to help give you some tips about how to stop the spread of invasive species. They always say clean, drain, and dry. So remove any aquatic plants or animals that you see, drain out any extra water. As some of you saw with the zebra mussels, they moved over because they were in the well water. And then dispose of any live bait in the trash. Don't put it back in the lake. That's not good for the lake. Those are invasive species. They're not normally from there. So uh, they can really kind of skew the balance of an ecosystem. Now, we also talked quite a bit about how humans change ecosystems. A lot of times it's not great. A lot of times it's because of farming industry or using a ton of energy. We have a large population. We are oftentimes overfishing or overhunting. We're not following our conservation guidelines. As you can see, the deforestation in the top right picture, right? Getting rid of entire ecosystems because we need to make room for ourselves and to make room for food. And we're adding to those greenhouse gases. We're making our planet warmer and we are causing climate change because we're doing things like driving cars and shipping things from one side of the world to the other. I know you can order something from, a different country and get it here within just a couple days. All of that adds to those greenhouse gases. However, there are good things that we can do, right? We can conserve and follow our conservation guidelines put forth by agencies like the Minnesota DNR. We can start to preserve our planet. We can make decisions every day that help our planet. We can plant trees. We can reduce waste. We can conserve energy by keeping the lights off. We can reuse or use reusable bags instead of plastic bags, right? You can make choices every day that lead to good changes in our ecosystem. You can bike to your friend's house, right? You could, instead of going for a drive, go for a walk. So making sure that we're making good choices. Now, some last minute reminders. With your ecosystems review worksheet, you have your own copy of this. In the top right corner, when you open up the assignment, you'll see this Your Work section, and then you'll be able to you'll be able to click right on that Google Doc and type right in there. Okay, make sure you do quality work. Use your resources, go back and review. I do also have like an online optional game activity where you are adding different populations to a desert ecosystem and just trying to survive and collect as many points as possible. It's kind of a fun one to go and play. So as you can see on that Google Classroom page, though, I do have a lot of things posted for the week. So it kind of looks like a lot. Now, here's just some of the things because I haven't quite posted all of them yet, but you have your Monday video. You have your reading 6, reading 7, all of these, and then the Wednesday video you're watching today, you can simply open it, and once you're done with the activity, press turn in. Now, your review worksheet is your homework that you have to do. Then I did post 2 optional things, including, again, your big idea for the week is optional as well. So hopefully this is kind of helping you keep track of things a little bit easier. Like I said, use that to-do list on Google Classroom. That's a really nice way to make sure that you're staying on top of your classwork, make sure you don't have any missing assignments. Another good place to check is Infinite Campus. So check your grades, see how you're doing in there. I wouldn't stress too much about 2s right now. So if you have a 2 and you're like, oh, I don't normally get 2s, it's okay. Take a deep breath. You'll be all right. I know things are a little tough with this distance learning. So you'll be okay. Just know that we miss you. We're thinking about you all the time. We're hoping that these things are helpful and that we're trying to do the best we can for you. So continue to let us know what works, what doesn't work. We hope to hear from you soon. We miss you.